Hey, everybody. It is your friend and pal Chopadon coming at you with a KBO video. Many of you understand that baseball is still on shutdown here in the United States, but Korean baseball is the next best thing, so that's where we're focused at DFSArmy.com. Basically, one-stop shopping for all things daily fantasy sports. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for keeping subscribed to my channel and watching these videos. You've seen some horse racing and some poker videos during the shutdown, kind of explaining a little bit of where we've turned our attention to. I can't do esports. It's just not my thing. No offense to those of you that love it. We've been smashing it at DFS Army. Continue to. CSGO had several winners again today under the guidance of PB Aaron, who just kind of has the magic pulse on the CSGO, CSGO, whatever you want to call it, gaming, as well as LOL and some of the others that obviously are not as prominent as they were. But we've got NASCAR opening up. We've got an MMA slate going on tonight and more on the way. PGA coming soon. And right now we are mostly focused on KBO baseball. So as always, follow the link down there in the description, dfsarmy.com. Use the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P. Let them know I sent you. And come inside and get some coaching. We can help you from anything from A to Z and everything in between. Korean baseball, I want to show you something that's normally proprietary information, normally premium information, because we don't have a lot of time before lock. We've had a couple of weeks to get up and running. We've had a very, very solid start to the season, and we understand baseball is a volatile sport anyway, so you can't give up after a little bit of time. But this is our cheat sheet for DraftKings. We've got a real quick coverage tonight, to be honest with you, but you can see the blue marks the core plays by one of our DFS gurus, Razzle. And where is it located? Under the KBO tab, Domination Station, Cheat Sheets, Research Station, Articles. If you want stats, that's usually what I show you in the video. The Research Station is a phenomenal place to get that information. Our articles right now are free with an intro to KBO, as well as tonight's pitching spotlight by Bobby Klinker, which is one of the $1 million winners in DFS history. Week 3 NFL last year, is actually a little better baseball player than he is a football player, admittedly. So it's pretty cool to see these guys joining the Army from the inside and helping people become better players every single day. What I would focus on myself is just stacking. I'm not doing a ton of in-depth analysis when it comes to KBO myself personally. I know some of you are, and that's great. I'm just throwing some random stacks out there, playing some dimes, and checking our domination station to make sure that it is correlating my stacks the way that I want. Because baseball, what I'm finding in some of the research that I've dug back into with the previous baseball seasons, is stacks are really, really interesting when you can fade the stud in the stack and get the pieces around him, like a 1-2-4 or a 2-3-5 type of stack, kind of going not necessarily a full 4 stack. If you did 1-2-3-5, 3-4-5-7, or even 3-5-7-8, or 3-5, 3, I can't even count, 3-5-6-7, something along those lines that incorporates consecutive guys but has a gap in there that fades either a tremendous value play for tournaments that people are going to be on, so you can get off of that ownership and hope that falters and then puts you ahead of the rest of the pack when your plays go off instead, or fades that stud ownership guy, that chalky guy, and again hopes that the equivalent of a Bryce Harper type has a bad day and you got the surrounding pieces around him when the offense blows up. That's a leverage play that works very, very well for tournaments. My free tip to you. And the way that I've been doing that through these I guess the domination station is just monitoring my lineups after I build them and making sure that they have those projected orders in there, that are mostly the 3 or 4 names that I'm picking are right in that window where there's no more than one gap in there somewhere. If I see more than one gap, I kind of throw the lineup out. I don't very often have a 1-3-5 or a 1-3-6 type of stack. I'm finding in the digging that I've done that if a team scores 8 or 10 runs, usually via a couple of long bombs, and that wipes the bases clean ahead of you, but it has a hard time, the guy behind him, say it was a 3-hitter that had a 30-point night, it's awfully hard for that 4-hitter to have a big day because he's constantly coming up with the bases empty and he has no opportunity unless he hits a couple of solo shots, and that's pretty rare. So I'm finding a spot in these orders to kind of skip a guy and hope that I can catch that way. It's just some little twist that I'm doing personally that's helping me tighten up my own baseball game. But if I was you and I was short on time, I would use one of the numbers that I used to use a lot, and I will when baseball comes back to the United States, is an invention that I've created. I create sliding scales in these metrics. We've talked a lot about on-base percentage in baseball and how not making outs helps you at least get some points per at-bat. But obviously, baseball is about the home run. I used to use ISO for a power metric and on-base percentage as a sliding scale and say anything over a 350 or 400 on-base percentage is elite, and anything over a 200 ISO is an elite power number. So a 400 on base and a 200 ISO is a 600 number when you add those two numbers together, right? So all I'm trying to do is find those guys that are thumping over 600 that are, and it doesn't matter. Are you getting on base half the time for a 500, or are you getting on base 300, or 30% of the time, and your ISO is a 300 because you've been parking balls? Whichever way that comes up on either side of that scale, I use those together to measure that key number of 600. And I've also incorporated that a couple of years ago into what actually focuses more on power and chasing home runs, and that's WOBA and ISO. So it's great to see these two columns in the cheat sheets because you can quickly add these two numbers up. Another elite number for WOBA is 400, and ISO again is 200. So you find a WOBA ISO, if you will, over 600, and you've really got yourself, or as close to 600 as you can find, and you've really got yourself something. You've got a guy hitting for tremendous power, and as we know, that power also weighs in to the WOBA number because all hits are not created equal. Home runs are more valuable than doubles, which are more valuable than walks, as we know. Now, walks help because you don't post a zero, but that higher WOBA is heavily weighted towards doubles, triples, and home runs. So by adding those two numbers together, I'm sort of double dipping on the power number, if you will. I've got on-base component, I've got a high average component in that number, but by combining WOBA and ISO to WOBISO, I now have a double dipping power metric that is focused on those guys hitting the ball over the wall. So if I look down here at the first name on the list, we've got a KIW stack here, a DO stack here, NCD players that are in this player pool. Let's see if we can find some that are listed. That's 350 and 150 is 500, 380 and 180 is 560, 370 and 120 is 490. So I'd be focused here on this number. This is the power number right now in terms of combining WOBA and ISO coming out of that lineup of the players that our guru Razzle has recommended that you put on your short list. 390, see if we can find one that does. There's one over close to a 600 right there. 380 and 212 is actually a 490, 595. That's almost a 600. Now, I don't know this guy any better than my neighbor walking down the street, but I can tell you that he's hitting for a high WOBA and he's hitting for a high ISO right now, and that's a good thing. Look at this number down here, 424 and 257. What is that? 670, 681. Holy cow, that's a big, big number. This is somebody you should be considering in parts of your stacks or as a one-off because the guy is really, really hitting the ball. Well, here's a 600 right here, 418 and 198, another one. So if you had a mini stack here of Yang and Na, you're good to go. You've got two of the better hitters in the lineup. Now, they might not have a good night tonight, but if you did this night in and night out in the softer pitching matchups, your market, and they're going to be a higher priced guys, of course, but these are going to at least give you a fighting chance in your stacks to build around, get a few people on base or a few people to knock these guys in because these guys are not only getting on base, but they're knocking balls over the wall and scooping up major points. You don't even need to know who these guys are to pay attention to a number like this. There's a 426, 238. It's a big number. That's a good thing. We've got down in here, 377. This is close. 390, 180 close, 390, 180 close. So you've got a few guys that you can pick from that are close that should again be the centerpieces of your stacks. Hopefully that helps you when we get back to baseball and we know the names, we know the players. We can trend short-term and long-term numbers. You can look at a season-long WOBISO and you can look at a 30-day WOBISO and see who's hitting above his average. And then you can play the regression game and say this guy's due to come back down to earth, or you can say this guy is due to keep going because he's hot. Either way is up to you, but don't try to play both sides of the fence one day and the other. Stick to the same side of the fence. I tend to think that the streak is going to continue. A lot of people tend to think that there's regression coming. Whichever way is up to you, fine. But what it's going to do is put you on the quality pieces of those stacks. Then you can build around them or use the big numbers as one-offs in your fill-in spots and really set yourself apart. If this is the kind of information that you like, you need to become a member here at DFS Army because WOBISO is my own personal invention. That is a number. I've also got a K-score number for pitching that you'd be interested in. You can probably search back through the YouTube channel and find videos on it. But the fact of the matter is we have our own unique material and we show you how to use it. We show you why it makes sense. We have a track record that proves our success, and we can help you become a better player too. You can only get it at dfsarmy.com. So come on and use the coupon code CHOP, CHOP. Get in here before lock tonight. It'll be May 14th in the morning when these Korean games go off, and let's help you win some money. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.